Good afternoon, members and friends of Calvary. Time for your video devotion of the week. Today's devotion comes from yesterday's Bible reading in Exodus chapter 18. In Exodus 18, Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, is coming to meet them. Moses comes out to talk to him. Of course, they're in the wilderness at this time, and Moses says this in verse number 8. And Moses told his father-in-law all that the Lord had done unto Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, and all the travail that had come upon them by the way, and how the Lord had delivered them. So as Jethro shows up, Moses is completely transparent. He starts off by telling the just dramatic story of the deliverance out of Egypt and all that God did to Egypt, and the destruction and all of the plagues and the death in the sea, etc. And then he goes on and he talks about the travail that the nation of Israel had experienced. He says there's been times we've been without water, and there's times we've been without food for a time, and the people complained and griped, and it's been rough. But then he ends with, and how the Lord had delivered them. The very next verse it says, and Jethro rejoiced for all the goodness which the Lord had done to Israel, whom he had delivered out of the hand of the Egyptians. Jethro's takeaway after the conversation with Moses was a positive one. He's like, well, God's been so good to you. And he rejoiced with Moses over God's goodness. I wonder today, and the challenge today is in our interactions, do we get caught up in the sort of the trials and we forget the triumph? Do we get caught up in giving the gory details of what happened in Egypt and how we were set free, that we forget that it's God that set us free and that we are free? Every interaction, every conversation, every speech that we give with a coworker, with our kids, with our boss, with our neighbor, it's okay to be honest and tell them some of the negative things that have happened. But we needn't focus on the trials. We need to focus on the triumphs. So much so that when people leave us and walk away from us, they would say something similar. God's been good to them. God's been very good to them. God has been very good to us. Let's make sure we act like it.